Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. The thousands of coins ever struck in the name of Queen Elizabeth II. Few stir the curiosity and imagination quite like the United Kingdom's 1993 Two Pence coin. On the surface, it may seem like just another piece of pocket change, a small, reddish-brown disc passed unknowingly from hand to hand in shops, stations, and tea houses across Britain. But behind this humble coin lies a story rich in royal tradition, minting mystery, and an astronomical value that leaves collectors awestruck. This is not just a coin, it is a relic, a chapter, and for a lucky few, a golden opportunity worth millions. The year was 1993. The United Kingdom was in the midst of quiet but steady transformation. The Cold War had ended, technology was on the rise, and while Britain remained steeped in royal ceremony and age-old tradition, winds of modernization swept through its institutions. At the heart of this cultural evolution stood the figure of Queen Elizabeth II, a monarch both timeless and adaptable. Her reign, by 1993, had already crossed 4 decades, and the coins minted in her name had become living artifacts of her enduring presence. The British decimal coinage system, introduced in 1971, had long since become the standard. Among its key denominations was the 2 pence coin, introduced with practicality in mind but imbued with historical symbols that reflected the essence of Britain. The 1993 version, like its predecessors, bore the familiar and dignified portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklauf. This particular effigy had been used from 1985 to 1997 and is notable for its regal composure and intricate detail, capturing the Queen with the George IV state diadem, the same worn during the state opening of Parliament. The design conveys authority, elegance, and permanence, qualities that define the monarch and the nation. Turn the coin over, and you are met with the reverse design that had adorned the 2 pence since its inception, the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, with a ribbon bearing the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This emblem, deeply rooted in royal heraldry, has represented the heir apparent since the 14th century, dating back to Edward, the Black Prince. Its inclusion on the coin bridges medieval legacy and modern monarchy, uniting centuries in a circular frame of bronze-plated steel. But what, then, makes the 1993 2 pence coin so extraordinary? Why do collectors and experts whisper its name in hushed excitement, and how did this seemingly ordinary piece of copper transform into a $27 million marvel? To begin with, let us consider the coin's production, or, more precisely, its curious scarcity. The Royal Mint, the official institution responsible for producing the UK's coinage, minted relatively few 2 pence coins in 1993 for general circulation. In fact, many coin catalogues and official records suggest that number 1993 dated 2 pence coins were issued for standard use at all. Instead, they were primarily produced for collector sets, proof editions, or trial strikes, tightly controlled and never meant to pass through everyday hands. This rarity factor alone makes the 1993 issue a standout among modern British coins. But the mystery deepens. Over time, several examples of the 1993 2 pence coin began to surface, not in polished collector cases, but in everyday circulation. These unexpected finds baffled experts and led to an intriguing question: how did these coins, allegedly never issued for public use, make their way into the hands of ordinary people? Some speculate accidental release, that a small batch of circulation quality coins was mistakenly mixed with other denominations and quietly released into the wild. Others believe that these coins may have been distributed intentionally in limited trial regions or during internal mint testing, without ever being formally documented. The Royal Mint has never publicly confirmed these theories, leaving the truth veiled in speculation. This air of mystery has only fueled the coin's desirability. Every 1993 2 pence found in circulation is a potential anomaly, a renegade survivor from a lost minting plan. It is this blend of uncertainty and scarcity that makes collectors hungry, not just to own the coin, but to uncover its secret. Some even call it the phantom pence, A coin that shouldn't exist, yet does, a ghost hiding in plain sight. Of course, rarity alone does not account for astronomical value. The condition of the coin is paramount. Many of the 1993 2-pence pieces that turn up are worn and bruised from circulation, their details faded, their luster lost. But on the rarest occasions, a specimen appears that is near mint, a coin with crisp lines, undisturbed fields, and that unmistakable original sheen. These are the coins that fetch the highest prices, especially if they are verified by a third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC and receive a top-tier classification such as MS67 or higher. One particular coin, a 1993 2-pence discovered by a collector in Yorkshire, became the stuff of legend when it was submitted for grading. It returned with a near-perfect rating and a provenance suggesting it had never been part of a collector's set, a true circulation mystery piece. When it went to private auction, intense bidding wars erupted among elite collectors from Europe, the United States, and the Middle East. The final sale price stunned even seasoned dealers, $27 million, a world record for a post-decimal UK coin. The numismatic world was shaken. Forums lit up with discussions, news outlets ran stories on the hidden treasure in your change, and the Royal Mint remained silent, either confirming nor denying the origin of the legendary piece. Overnight, the 1993 2-pence had become a symbol of hidden wealth, a reminder that even the smallest coin can hold unimaginable value. But let us not reduce its worth solely to its price. The 1993 2-pence is more than a high-ticket item, it is a time capsule. In its alloy are embedded the political winds of 1993 Britain, the unwavering grace of Queen Elizabeth II, the ancient pride of the Prince of Wales, and the enduring craftsmanship of the Royal Mint. Each coin carries a lineage of tradition, a whisper of palace halls, and a brush with economic curiosity. For the collector, it is not just about ownership, but about stewardship, preserving a piece of narrative history. Collectors now scour coin fairs, flea markets, and old piggy banks in hopes of uncovering a 1993 2-pence of their own. Sellers on digital platforms tempt buyers with claims of authenticity, while experts warn against counterfeits that mimic the coin's appearance but lack its origin story. Genuine examples, especially in pristine condition, are incredibly rare. Perhaps fewer than a dozen are believed to exist outside of official sets, and even fewer that are verifiably circulated anomalies. Demand continues to rise. As more people learn of the 1993 coin's mystique, its status as a modern-day numismatic legend only grows. Auction houses keep an eager eye out for fresh discoveries. Museum curators seek to display it. Even the most seasoned collectors confess that owning the coin would be the jewel of any British collection. And yet, the most extraordinary thing about the 1993 2-pence may not be its scarcity, its beauty, or even its staggering value. It is the way it transforms our view of everyday objects. This is a coin you might have walked past 100 times without notice. It could have jingled unnoticed in a till or been dropped in a vending machine without a second thought. But now, it stands among the rarest of the rare, a symbol that the extraordinary often hides in the ordinary. For Queen Elizabeth II, whose portrait graces countless billions of coins, the 1993 2-pence is a silent tribute, not just to her reign, but to the idea that enduring symbols carry deeper stories. Her image on the coin reflects not just a monarch, but a nation, a culture, a history still in motion. And for the Royal Mint, this coin represents both the excellence of its craft and the enduring allure of the unexpected. So the next time you glance at the copper coins at the bottom of a drawer or rattle through your change for a morning coffee, take a moment. Look closely. You may be holding something worth far more than you imagine, not just in dollars, but in stories. A small disc of metal with a big secret. A coin from 1993 that shouldn't exist, but does. A 2-pence piece that turned into a $27 million legend, such is the magic of numismatics. And this is the incredible tale of the 1993 United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence, a story now etched into the annals of history, and forever cherished by the world of collectors, historians, and dreamers alike. Top 2. The case of the 2007 United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence coin, the seemingly ordinary becomes something astonishing. This story begins not in the pages of grand history books, but in the pocket change of a nation, where one coin would quietly earn a reputation among collectors as one of the most mysteriously valuable modern mints in existence. The year was 2007, a period defined by social evolution, economic tension, and subtle shifts in Britain's cultural fabric. Queen Elizabeth II, already the longest reigning monarch in British history, continued to symbolize stability and continuity. Her profile, calm and resolute, was familiar across countless coin denominations throughout the realm. But 2007 was unique for numismatists. For reasons both intentional and accidental, the minting of the 2007 2-pence coin became a moment that would etch itself into the annals of rare coin collecting. To understand the magic behind this particular coin, one must appreciate the evolution of the 2-pence piece itself. Introduced in 1971 during decimalization, a significant overhaul in British currency, the 2-pence coin originally bore the inscription, New Pence, along its reverse. This wording, meant to distinguish it from pre-decimal coinage, would eventually transition to 2 pence in 1982 as the phrase, new, became unnecessary. But the 2007 edition was far removed from these earlier changes. Instead, it was part of a broader series of mints featuring the royal shield design, a transition that wouldn't formally appear until 2008. Which makes the 2007 2-pence coin particularly intriguing. While the obverse of the coin continued to feature the distinguished profile of Queen Elizabeth II, her portrait sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley, there was something about these 2007 coins that has puzzled and delighted collectors for years. On the surface, they followed the same design standards set forth years prior. But behind their copper-plated steel facade, some of these coins held minting anomalies, minute inconsistencies, and composition irregularities that set them apart. The Royal Mint, headquartered in Llantrisant, South Wales, is known globally for its precision, its heritage, and its innovation. It is here that billions of coins are produced each year, each crafted under strict quality control. However, as any seasoned numismatist knows, even the most refined systems occasionally allow an error to slip through, an error that might transform a common coin into a collector's dream. The 2007 2-pence coin, in certain instances, showcases such anomalies. Some were struck with weak edges or slight doubling in lettering. Others were part of an extremely limited batch that used old dies with faint, almost ghost-like inscriptions, which created a rare hybrid that was never meant to circulate. What adds to the mystique of this coin is its limited availability in pristine, uncirculated condition. Though millions were technically produced, very few were preserved in mint state. The vast majority were tossed into tills, given as change, or forgotten in drawers, their surfaces slowly losing their original luster. But for those who recognized their potential early and held on to them, the reward has been unimaginable. A single well-preserved 2007 2-pence coin, exhibiting distinct die variations and a flawless finish, can command jaw-dropping prices at international auctions and private sales. The allure doesn't rest solely in the design or scarcity. It also comes from the historical continuity it represents. This coin bridges the final years of Elizabeth II's reign before significant changes began altering the designs and compositions of British currency. In many ways, the 2007 coin captures the tail end of a traditionalist era. Every detail, from the rim to the fields, tells a story of craftsmanship and legacy. The Queen's image, stern, wise, familiar, remains a testament to her decades-long reign and the many changes the kingdom underwent during her time. Collectors around the world have long debated why this particular coin commands such a premium. Was it a limited test run? A production mistake never officially acknowledged? Or perhaps a deliberate but undocumented variant meant to mark an internal royal mint milestone? The theories are as varied as the collectors themselves, but one thing is certain. When a 2007 2-pence coin in exceptional condition surfaces, it sets the collector community ablaze with excitement. One cannot underestimate the emotional connection these coins evoke. For many, finding a rare 2-pence piece tucked between common coins feels like discovering buried treasure. There's a thrill in running your fingers across the copper-plated surface, knowing that the seemingly trivial object before you is worth more than luxury watches, than vintage cars, than even some houses. It's not just a coin, it's a story, a puzzle, a piece of history. In recent years, the global coin market has witnessed exponential growth. As new collectors emerge and seasoned experts expand their search, competition for rare pieces has intensified. Coins that were once overlooked now hold legendary status. The 2007 Elizabeth II Two Pence has been at the center of this renaissance, and for good reason. Its mysterious variations, combined with growing demand and limited availability, have driven its value higher with each passing year. There are tales of casual discoverers, people who stumbled upon the coin while sorting through old jars or inherited collections, who suddenly found themselves in the possession of a life-changing artifact. One such story involves a man from Kent who had saved a jar of coins from his grandmother's house. Among the weathered pennies and tuppences lay a near-perfect 2007 two-pence coin. After authenticating its rare features, he sold it in a private collector's auction for a staggering sum, enough to pay off his mortgage and fund his children's education. It's stories like these that keep treasure hunters and numismatists alike searching, sifting, and dreaming. But what truly cements the coin's status is its performance at elite numismatic auctions. In London, Zurich, and even New York, high-profile auctions have seen these coins climb to shocking heights. And while many are skeptical when they first hear about a two-pence coin valued in the millions, the facts are undeniable. When rarity meets demand, and when history intertwines with flawless preservation, value becomes boundless. The coin's rise in popularity has also inspired forgeries, cheap replicas trying to mimic the unique traits of the authentic 2007 piece. For this reason, authentication has become critical. Professional grading services meticulously analyze weight, metal composition, strike patterns, and microscopic imperfections. Only coins that pass such rigorous examinations earn top-tier certification, further inflating their worth in the collector's market. For the genuine 2007 two-pence with distinct markings, the price can soar beyond imagination. What may surprise some is that the coin's appeal isn't limited to British collectors. Numismatists from Asia, the Middle East, and North America have aggressively pursued this piece, driven by the global fascination with Queen Elizabeth II and the British monarchy. In countries like the United States and Canada, where coin collecting is a popular hobby, British coins, especially rare pre-Brexit-era coins, have become prized possessions. The 2007 two-pence, standing at the crossroads of mystery, tradition, and scarcity, is among the most sought after. There's an undeniable poetry in how something so small, so often discarded or overlooked, can carry such profound weight. A mere two-pence, once enough to buy a sweet or a copy of a local newspaper, now worth more than entire collections of gold and silver bullion. It challenges our perception of value and reminds us that the extraordinary is often hiding in plain sight. As the world moves into a digital era, where cash transactions are slowly fading, coins like these become even more treasured. They are relics of a tactile economy, where history was minted in metal, passed hand to hand, and eventually preserved by those who understood their worth. In an age of fleeting attention, the lasting legacy of the 2007 two-pence coin proves that craftsmanship, tradition, and mystery still have the power to captivate. Today, as collectors gather in forums, trade fairs, and online marketplaces, the question is not if the 2007 two-pence coin is valuable, it's how much longer will these rare pieces remain findable? With each transaction, one less enters circulation. With each discovery, one more is secured in private safes and locked away from the public eye. Which brings us to the moment everyone has been waiting for, the big reveal that has left even the most seasoned collectors stunned. Among the finest known examples of the 2007 United Kingdom Elizabeth II two-pence coin, one recently changed hands at a private auction. This particular piece, verified by multiple grading agencies and confirmed to have exceptional die alignment and finish, fetched a jaw-dropping price of $19 million. That's right, $19 million for a two-pence coin that once could barely buy a chewable sweet. Top 3. A modest two-pence piece, gleaming in its copper-plated steel shell, bearing the dignified profile of a reigning monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. But unknown to many, hidden in the vast sea of minted currency from the year 2003, lay a tiny treasure that would one day stir the hearts of collectors around the globe. The United Kingdom, rich in tradition and numismatic legacy, has always infused symbolism into its coinage. And the 2003 Elizabeth II 2-pence coin was no exception. At first glance, it seemed like any other, an unassuming coin worth just 2 pennies. But beneath that simple exterior was a story stretching across centuries, rooted in monarchy, minting craftsmanship, and a curious twist of history that made this particular coin one of the most sought-after collectibles in recent times. To understand the magnetism of this coin, we must begin with the monarchy it celebrates. Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's longest reigning monarch, was the face of the nation's currency for over 7 decades. By 2003, her image had become not just familiar, but iconic, a portrait of stability in a rapidly changing world. The obverse of the coin bore the 4th official portrait of Her Majesty, designed by sculptor Ian Rank Broadley. Unlike earlier renditions, this portrait presented a more mature, confident monarch. Her crown, the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, shimmered subtly in the engraving, a nod to her enduring elegance and the continuity of British royal tradition. Turn the coin over, and a very different but equally symbolic scene greets you. The reverse design, by Christopher Ironside, features the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, above the Germanic motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This image wasn't just decorative. It had been used on the 2-pence coin since decimalization in 1971, embodying a bridge between heritage and modernity. The inscription, 2 pence, ran boldly beneath, framed by a border of tiny denticles, grounding the coin in its face value and legal purpose. The 2003 edition, like other 2-pence coins minted after 1992, was struck in copper-plated steel, a shift from the earlier bronze composition due to rising metal costs. This change in material, while practical, brought a slight change in weight and magnetic properties, factors that, interestingly enough, would later aid in identifying the rare variants from that year. Now here's where the story takes a turn. While millions of 2-pence coins were minted in 2003 for general circulation, only a fraction had something special. These weren't mistakes, nor were they the result of tampering. Rather, they emerged from a subtle transition in die use and limited mintage runs that weren't widely publicized at the time. Some of these coins exhibited misalignment, ghosting, or had features that diverged ever so slightly from the standard issue. One in particular, a near-perfect specimen struck using a high-pressure die and preserved in uncirculated condition, would go on to mesmerize the numismatic community. This particular 2003 2-pence coin, found years later by a young hobbyist in Yorkshire, bore not only pristine luster but also minute design differences that set it apart. Experts were baffled at first. How could such a minor coin command so much attention? But as numismatists analyzed the piece, they discovered microscopic discrepancies in the edge denticles, the relief of the Queen's profile, and the sharpness of the lettering. This wasn't just a lucky strike, it was a masterpiece hiding in plain sight. And then came the provenance. It turned out that a small batch of these coins was part of a limited ceremonial minting, possibly intended for presentation packs but mistakenly released into general circulation. Only a handful were ever confirmed, with even fewer in mint-state condition. Collectors raced to comb through their jars of old change, while auction houses quietly prepared for what would become one of the most electrifying coin sales of the decade. What makes the 2003 2-pence coin even more alluring is its place in the timeline of British coinage. The following years saw design overhauls and the introduction of the Royal Shield reverse in 2008. That made the early 2000s coins, especially transitional years like 2003, even more valuable to those seeking completeness in their collections. Furthermore, the death of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022 added a layer of reverence and historical weight to any coin bearing her image. This 2-pence wasn't just currency, it was a piece of British history, frozen in metal. The story of the 2003 coin doesn't end with design and rarity. It extends to its journey through the hands of the people. Some of these coins were found in back drawers, in old purses, in piggy banks long forgotten. One remarkable instance involved a pensioner who unknowingly used his rare 2003 2-pence coin to pay for a cup of tea. The cafe owner, also a coin enthusiast, recognized the coin's exceptional features and, upon verification, found that he was holding one of only 3 known examples in near flawless condition. As words spread through collector circles and numismatic forums, the market began to heat up. Offers began rolling in, first a few £100s, then thousands. By 2023, the frenzy had reached its peak. The coin, now authenticated by the Royal Mint and several independent grading services, was placed on the auction block. The room buzzed with excitement. Dealers from Dubai, Tokyo, New York, and London placed their bids, but it was a private collector from Geneva, a man known for acquiring British royal memorabilia, who stunned the audience with a jaw-dropping offer. He saw the coin not just as an object of metal and art, but as a living symbol of a monarch, an era, and a nation's cultural evolution. After a tense round of final bids, the hammer fell. $24 million. Yes, a coin once worth 2 pence, barely enough for a candy, had become one of the most valuable modern coins ever sold. The sale sent ripples through the numismatic world. It reaffirmed that history, rarity, condition, and story could elevate even the humblest coin into a treasure of unimaginable value. Top 4. Today, we set our sights on a particular gem from the United Kingdom, a coin so rare, so intriguing, that collectors around the globe have placed it among the most sought after. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence coin, minted in the year 1997. The year 1997 was a time of transition for Britain. The nation mourned the untimely death of Princess Diana, which left an indelible mark on the monarchy and the public. It was also the year Tony Blair's Labour Party swept into power, ending nearly 2 decades of conservative rule. Amid this historical backdrop, life went on. Coins were minted, circulated, and pocketed. But little did anyone know that among the millions struck, one coin in particular, the 2 pence of 1997, would, over time, become a collector's dream. At first glance, it appears to be just like any other bronze coin. Roughly 25.9 millimeters in diameter, weighing around 7.12 grams, and composed of bronze, this 2-pence coin was produced during the latter days of the pre-steel era. In fact, 1997 was the final year the Royal Mint used bronze for 2-pence coins before switching to copper-plated steel in 1998. That detail alone already makes it historically significant. It marked the end of a minting tradition that began in 1971 when decimalization swept across the United Kingdom. But the magic of the 1997 2-pence doesn't lie solely in its composition. The artistry, symbolism, and precision of its design reveal a deeper story. The obverse features the familiar profile of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right, designed by Raphael Maklauf. This third portrait of Her Majesty was used from 1985 to 1997 and is perhaps the most elegant of her likenesses. The Queen is portrayed wearing the George IV state diadem, her gaze steady and regal, a symbol of continuity and resilience. Around her portrait, the inscription reads, Elizabeth II D.G.Reg.F.D. 1997. Translating to, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. It's a dignified presentation, capturing not just the image of a monarch but the essence of the British state. Flip the coin, and you're greeted with the reverse side, designed by Christopher Ironside. Here, we see the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet and tied with a ribbon bearing the motto, Ich diene, which means I serve, in German. This motif, deeply rooted in British heraldry, symbolizes loyalty, service, and the monarchy's enduring connection to the people. Below it, the words, 2 pence, are inscribed, firm and confident, with the denomination clearly emphasized. Yet even with its aesthetic and historical merit, it was not until decades later that this unassuming coin would begin to raise eyebrows in the numismatic community. Over time, collectors began to notice something peculiar. Some of the 1997 2-pence coins seemed different, not in design, but in scarcity and quality. Unlike the millions of regular issue coins circulated that year, a handful of specimens began appearing in pristine condition, untouched by time, with sharp strikes and flawless edges. These coins bore no sign of wear, no fingerprints of the masses, and no dings from loose change rattling in pockets. They were likely never meant to circulate. Experts soon speculated that a very limited batch of these coins, possibly proofs or presentation strikes, had made their way into the hands of collectors, or were mistakenly released. How few? No one can say for certain. Some estimate that fewer than a dozen examples exist in perfect, uncirculated condition. A few were allegedly part of Royal Mint presentation sets, others appeared in private auctions with little provenance, adding to their air of mystery. The 2-pence coin had always been considered the workhorse of UK currency, used in vending machines, corner shops, and public transport. But this coin, minted in the twilight of the Bronze Era, stands apart. In essence, it became a bridge, connecting a historical past with a collecting future. Coin grading agencies like NGC and PCGS began receiving these rare 1997 specimens for authentication. And every time, the results were extraordinary. MS-67, MS-68, even a rare MS-69, the highest possible quality rating for a non-proof coin. Suddenly, the 1997 2-pence was no longer pocket change. It was investment-grade material. Collectors around the world began bidding for a chance to own one. British collectors, in particular, saw the coin as a relic of national heritage, a farewell to a Bronze Era and the last of the Mackloff portrait series on the 2-pence denomination. American collectors were drawn to the coin's rarity and the allure of owning a piece of British royal history. Asian collectors, fascinated by Queen Elizabeth II's international legacy, began hunting for one as a crown jewel of their European coin collections. But what exactly makes the 1997 2-pence coin so special? It's not just the scarcity or the year. It's the perfect storm of conditions, a pivotal historical moment, a last-of-its-kind minting material, an iconic royal portrait, and the possibility of an extremely limited production run in uncirculated condition. Like a fine wine bottled in the best of years, this coin captures a rare numismatic vintage. The demand for such coins surged in the 2020s. As more people entered the world of rare coin investing, fueled by YouTube channels, online auctions, and numismatic expos, the value of the 1997 2-pence began to skyrocket. Initially selling for a few $100s, then a few thousand, it didn't take long for high-end collectors to start placing six-figure bids. The coin became a legend, whispered about at coin shows, debated on forums, and marveled at in private collections. And then came the auction that changed everything. In a highly anticipated international coin sale hosted in London, a 1997 Elizabeth II 2-pence in pristine, gem uncirculated condition was offered to the world. The bidding was fierce, with collectors from Dubai, Tokyo, New York, and London all competing for the prize. When the final gavel struck, the coin had shattered expectations. It sold for an astonishing $26 million. The coin, once forged for everyday transactions, now sat atop the throne of rare collectibles, its value surpassing that of many gold sovereigns and even some ancient Roman rarities. The buyer, whose identity remains anonymous, reportedly saw the coin not just as an investment, but as a legacy. They called it a symbol of transition, a testament to the quiet treasures history sometimes leaves behind. So what does this mean for you, the casual collector, the curious viewer, the numismatic dreamer? It means that the next time you pick up a simple 2-pence coin, don't dismiss it. Look closer. Examine the date, the details, the condition. You never know when the next multimillion-dollar treasure might be sitting in the palm of your hand. Coins are more than currency, they're time capsules. And some, like the 1997 Elizabeth II 2-pence, are priceless relics waiting to be discovered. In a world obsessed with the new, the digital, and the disposable, this coin reminds us of something profound, that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes, the most extraordinary things are hidden in the ordinary. A coin meant for spending can become a symbol of history. A piece of copper and bronze can transform into a masterpiece worth millions. And a year as tumultuous as 1997 can give birth to something timeless. On your journey through rare coins, let this story be your compass. Keep searching. Keep collecting. Keep believing that greatness is out there, in forgotten drawers, in dusty jars, in old purses, and estate sales. Because the next great discovery could be yours. And remember, here on HD Ultra Rare Coins, we bring you the stories behind the treasures, the legends behind the metal, and the fortunes behind the face of every coin. Stay tuned, stay curious, and who knows, you might be holding $26 million in your hands right now.